Listen, the Miami Dolphins are 2-7, and when your coach and front office is on a hot seat, and you go on Thursday Night Football, and you lay an egg, and you suffer your largest home loss in 4 years, 4+ years. Week 2 of the 2021 season is when the Buffalo Bills came in and waxed the Dolphins 35-0. When you have your third game with fewer than 10 points scored this year, and you only had one such game in the 3 previous years combined, what's going to end up happening is I guess, Halloween term, rolling head. And that does not belong to the head coach, Mike McDaniel. It belongs to the general manager, Chris Grier. An interesting choice by Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, today, telling Chris Grier, who's been with the organization since joining as a scout in 2000 and then working his way up to general manager in 2016, that we're done here. And we're not only done here as a general manager, but the trade deadline is right around the corner. And one would think if Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb or Matthew Judon are pieces that are of interest to other teams in the National Football League, and I'm not somebody like Tom Pelissero who's working phones and burning up phone lines, but I can surely tell you there'll be some interest.
Yeah, there better be
for
some
those
interest
players
from my team.
And for sure, the Cowboys could use any of the 3 that I just mentioned. So that coaching search, pardon me, that's a cart before a horse right here. That very important part of building this team for the future. When you're 2-7 and you've got pieces that you can move to other teams and accrue draft choices, that is now going to be handled, that crucial part of the business of the trade deadline talks, not by the general manager, Chris Grier, but by senior personnel executive Champ Kelly. And, we're checking to see if maybe, did Ron DeSantis say he's not going to let the general manager be in charge of who's choosing the next items?
Topical.
Is that what's happening right now?
Well done.
It's going around,
Is that what's happening with all red state governors and football programs?
Oh, boy.
Listen, it's a choice. It's a choice. And Mike McDaniel's still the head coach, but I'll be straight up. And this is about somebody who I've become fond of.
Yeah, we really like.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is just shooting you straight, as I always do here on this program. I can't imagine, unless he wins out, like a Steve Fisher, University of Michigan 1989 type run, where he wins out and they make the playoffs, and they somehow make. Sorry,
I said Tua turns into Ramil Robinson.
Well, or Tua, he turns into the Tua of Alabama, or the Tua of the 70-20 wipeout of the Denver Broncos a couple years ago type Tua. Unless the Dolphins go on that sort of run, there's no chance a new general manager comes in and says, you know what, we're just going to keep the same thing. Let's just run it back. Let's run it back with the same coach. A general manager comes in and says, I've got my own people, my own guy, unless they hire a general manager from Mike McDaniel's past and they want to keep him because Stephen Ross doesn't want to pay dead coaching money. That's the way this is going. And it didn't help Mike McDaniel last night that his offense was moving the football up and down the field with impunity in the first half, out gaining the Ravens 226 to 109 yards while holding the Ravens offense to 1 of 6 on third down, but being down at halftime 14-6 because of a host of self-inflicted problems, like Taj Washington, the rookie, fumbling on his own 4, leading to the first of 2 Mark Andrews touchdowns. The second one came after the Dolphins marched down the field and from the Ravens' 12-yard line suffered a false start to bring on the field goal kicker. First of many times there were Amazon Prime Video cutaways of a cursing what appeared to be Mike McDaniel. And then Riley Patterson field goal wide right. And then the Ravens marched down the field for the second Mark Andrews touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. And then 14-6, right before the end of halftime, and the Ravens getting the ball to start the second half, and the Dolphins needing points. McDaniel figured he had the right play call on 4th and 2, and he's not bringing out the field goal kicker who had just, missed earlier, even though Riley Patterson had just made it. Regardless, he calls a play, and Tua just heaves it out of bounds on what appeared to be a matchup between Achane at 5 foot whatever against Kyle Hamilton, who is, as you know, one of the tallest, toughest defenders in the league. Like, that's a one-on-one.
6'4".
You're going to just go a fade right there. After the game, McDaniel said there was a multitude of problems that had occurred on that play call and after the execution of it. And then down 28-6, they marched down the field. The other Washington, Malik Washington fumbles. Everybody named Washington's fumbling in this game. Tua with a pick to seal it. And it didn't help anybody that this was a Halloween night celebration, final game in October on national television stream viewership, that everybody gets to come dressed up. And so some folks showed up with paper bags and started booing their heads off. And that, clearly is understandable, as Mike McDaniel noted afterwards.
Yeah, it sucks. That sucks. All of that does. But, I think it's a pretty consistent formula of, fans enjoy winning. And so our expectation is that we have to do the work and do the right things for fans to enjoy the experience. And unfortunately, we didn't do that tonight. So we got to get back to work to give them something to cheer about.
Dolphins fans, if you're looking for somebody who's going to turn over tables and wreck the buffet and just start pounding the podium, you got the wrong guy there. And, Mike McDaniel picking and choosing his $1 million words are not what Dolphin fans want to hear, but that's the guy who he is. And it's his cerebral nature that brings about the ability to scheme an offense to march up and down the field. They just can't make it cash. They've got a quarterback who's thrown 11 picks, who doesn't want to take a hit, and that's totally understandable, right? And they have players who aren't performing sharply in the most important circumstances, and then injuries. I guess everybody's got them. Tyreek Hill being out for the year doesn't help at all. But put it all together, and the Miami Dolphins next up, as he says, got to get to work to give him something to cheer about. Buffalo Bills are coming into town, and if they are coming in off a loss to the Chiefs or a win against the Chiefs, either way, they're going to have a head of steam or a massive chip on their shoulder wanting to take it out on Miami before the Dolphins fly all the way to Madrid and are going to be in the big-time international series finale, and the league in particular, very excited about the Madrid game. So there's going to be a lot of promotion around it. Hey, everybody, tune in to watch the Commanders and the Dolphins. Then there's a bye week, and then the final 6 games, and you're going to wonder how many people, to use a Deion Sanders phrase that I learned long ago, that when a team is no longer viable for the playoffs, players treat the game like a U-Haul game because they have the U-Haul backed up, ready to pack up for the year. Certainly, if the GM is no longer there and the guy he hired is part of a team that has 4 or 5 wins, it's brutal. The Dolphins have absolutely fallen apart this year, is what it looks like. And in terms of what Mike McDaniel says fans like winning, I mentioned Chris Grier joined the team in 2000. That is the last year in which the Dolphins made the playoffs and won a playoff game. It is 24 years and counting, it looks like, the longest playoff win drought in the National Football League. They last won on the second to last day of 2000. That's when the wild card game occurred in Miami against Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts And Dave Wanstead's Dolphins won that game despite Jay Fiedler throwing 3 interceptions. Lamar Smith ran one in overtime to win it for the Dolphins. That's the last time they won a playoff game.
Wow.
So Stephen Ross has got another decision to make on his coach, and I can't imagine they're going to hire a new general manager and keep the coach unless this coach's team finishes somehow, somewhere. I mean, last year they started 2-6, finished 8-9, gave them a lot of belief about this season. I mean, to finish 8-9 this year, you know, that's going to be a tall order. So that's what's up there. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.